that describes my feeling at Nalukai is inspired.
Growth.
Exciting.
Connected.
Validated.
Encouraged. Ohana.
Belonging.
Intoxicating.
It's exciting.
Challenge.
Grateful.
It's excited.
Encouraged.
Work.
Inspiring.
Inspiring.
Grateful.
Anticipation.
Blown away.
Enrichment.
Motivated.
Enlightened.
Trust or believe.
I don't know if a single word could describe the way that I feel about Nalukai, but definitely the phrase hit the ground running.
All right, Jack. Mr. Clark.
Aloha kako. Welcome to the 2021 Nalukai Academy Summer Startup Camps ʻIke Showcase, our celebration of our 2021 cohort projects. I'm David Clark. I'm the Executive Director of Nalukai. I'm a lifelong educator. It has been my purpose in life to offer opportunities to young people to grow, to shine, to learn. And we believe Nalukai does that exquisitely. Each year, we gather some of Hawaii's most ambitious, accomplished, and innovative high school students and offer them an intensive 2-week program centered around social, technological, and cultural entrepreneurship. This year's cohort members come from public, private, and charter schools on the islands of Hawaii, Maui, and Oahu. As an organization, we are inspired by our home, the cultural practitioners devoted to perpetuating the values and traditions of Hawaii, and the challenges that we all face here. And so we bring together these students to meet with cultural experts, innovative educators, and international industry professionals to engage with and challenge our students, or founders as we call them, to devise solutions to problems that they see and foresee with exciting solutions. But mostly, we foster community and collaboration so that each individual can thrive and shine and contribute. After a year and a half of restricted gathering and confinement, this is essential for our young people. A huge mahalo to our community partners and individuals whose generosity helps keep Nalukai afloat. Kamehameha Schools, Alaska Airlines, the Hawaii Community Foundation, and many community members, individuals whose contributions provide the program and a laptop for our students free of charge, so we can assemble a truly diverse group of founders. Thank you also to our facilitation team, people who add their wisdom, their knowledge, their experience to our founders' experience. Thank you to the cultural practitioners who help set the foundation and remind us why we're doing what we're doing here in this very special place, our home. Thank you also to our alumni team leaders who selflessly give back by coming back to Nalukai, working alongside the students to make sure that they understand and have a chance to really shine. It is my pleasure to represent this organization. Thank you for being here today. I hope you find their presentations to be inspiring. I hope you find them inspiring. I hope you see hints of the bonds that they've formed with each other over these last 2 weeks. Because while the showcases that you see are important and address important problems, the true Nalukai experience gathers together these students, teaches them that they can learn from each other, because that's truly the way that these problems can be solved. I want to introduce our curriculum director, who's also a Nalukai board member, whose industry experience and increasingly adept educational skills, I believe he will help us understand the experience that our students have gone through over the last 2 weeks. Mr. Austin Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Austin Stewart, and I'm coming to you from my home in Hilo, Hawaii. As an individual, it is my mission to foster new industries here in Hawaii County, as well as throughout the islands, that will provide the high-paying and culturally affirming jobs that our young people need to remain here and moreover to thrive here. In service to that mission, as Nalukai's curriculum director, it has been my task, my privilege, my honor to take an elite college's incubator or accelerator program that will be offered to adults over the span of many months and wham that thing down into 2 weeks of an extremely intense entrepreneurship experience. And in that process, none of the rigor has been lost. So since we started the intensive portion of this program on July 5th, we have gone through problem ideation. We have verified problems, validated them through engagement with people in the community. We have iterated on our understandings of them and our statements of those problems before beginning an ideation cycle around solutions. We have then validated those solutions, reaching out to customers, performing customer discovery as it would be done in an adult accelerator program. And then from there, designing what we call a minimum viable product, or that first prototype, pushing it from the prototyping or from the design stage all the way through to release. So everyone you're going to see present today in that very short span of time has gone from having a connection to a problem that they found in their communities to interviewing people who engage with that problem regularly, to creating a solution to it that they presented back to them, offered to them, and are now reaching out to you for assistance in moving forward and continuing to address those things. So I am extremely pleased that we can bring this to you today. I am so excited for you to experience what our founders have learned on their journey, what they are offering back to our communities, and everything that we can do to support them from here, to hand to them the keys to the future that we want to have for ourselves and for our families here in Hawaii. Mr. Aaron Shaw.
Thank you. This year, we could not have done it without Pomai Bertelman, an incredible educator and cultural practitioner, leading us through grounding activities each day that not only helped kind of center ourselves and de-stress, but really reinforced all of the things that we were trying to do on a daily basis. Our goal was to have youth actualize their innate capacities and powers, to take those dawning capacities and turn them into something that's truly resplendent. And they have done a remarkable job. I am so proud for you to hear who they are through their presentations. I am so excited for you to get to meet each of them and hear about their learning journeys and hear about how youth have real solutions to the problems that are facing Hawaii. Before we begin, Mr. Clark, can you give us just some intro thoughts before our next team starts?
So what I'd like you to imagine is that less than 2 weeks ago, these folks met for the first time. We had a couple of pre-work sessions devoted to social emotional learning, diversity, equity, inclusion. We brought in some of Hawaii's, I would say, most accomplished and capable educators who helped us foster team, a sense of collaboration, a sense of appreciation for diversity and the skill set that our founders who come from different places, different schools, different types of schools, and different backgrounds, what they each bring. But imagine that these young people, basically 9th graders through 12th graders, met for the first time in this Zoom room just under 2 weeks ago. And what they've accomplished in these 2 weeks, working from generally 8:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m., the generally being applied to the later end. Sometimes it goes well into the evening. As at a parent meeting earlier that we hosted, a couple of parents commented, I haven't seen my daughter except for meals for the last week and a half. We push them hard. And that's because we think that the problems that they've identified and the solutions that they've come up with are important to test drive. You as an audience today, we're very grateful because it gives them a chance, a platform in order to present their solutions. And so for that, we're really grateful that you've joined us today as well. Mahalo.
And without further ado, I have the honor of introducing our first team, ʻIke Island. The floor is yours.
ʻIke Island. This is the view from Nu'uanupali looking down into Kaneohe Valley. It's such a beautiful place, but there's much more to it than we think. In May of 1795, King Kamehameha and his forces landed on Oahu during their quest to unite the Hawaiian Islands. They fought Kalani Kupule's forces, eventually forcing them to retreat to the valley. As Kamehameha and his troops fought, they cornered them to this cliff, and hundreds of Kalani Kupule's forces were forced off and fell 1,000 feet to their indefinite fate. This beautiful place marks the final battle in Kamehameha's pursuit to unite Hawaii under one rule. There are so many more places with rich cultural knowledge background that we are sadly unaware of. This cultural knowledge is held by our cultural practitioners in Kupuna who hold these stories and lessons. They are so important because the entirety of our culture is held within. And if we lose these lessons and cultures, or we lose these lessons and knowledge, the whole culture will die. Not knowing about a culture and its places makes it difficult to respect the values and customs. Finding out about the knowledge is generally very difficult and it's hard to find a reliable source without digging through multiple areas. Local cultural practitioners who know this knowledge don't have an easy and widespread way to share it. Now welcome to ʻIke Island, your digital station for Hawaiian information. So We are working to allow Native Hawaiians to share their insights, stories, and wisdom, and provide easy access for everybody to access cultural knowledge about places around them. Through those two things, we hope to make a space where everyone can have a greater respect and appreciation for Hawaii. We're going to do this through an app called ʻIke Island that recruits cultural practitioners in kupuna to share their stories and spread it with locals and visitors alike.
Our app aims to educate both locals and tourists. When a user opens the ʻIke Island app, it will access their current location. As you can see, this user is at I'a Valley on Maui. The app will immediately provide present day and historical information about various places in I'a Valley and will include relevant stories told by the kupuna and culturally informed community members. It will also suggest nearby locations for the user to visit, and the user can search for any location in Hawaii that they are curious about. We also offer a premium version that additionally provides a selection of narrated tour guides to choose from, which will assist travelers who are visiting a place for the first time. The app goes beyond educating people. It actively supports the kupuna that share their knowledge and their communities. ʻIke Island pays kupuna, cultural practitioners, and knowledgeable individuals a fixed payment of their stories. There's also a built-in tip feature that allows individuals to directly tip the storytellers for sharing their words of knowledge. ʻIke Island also gives 10% of profits to organizations that are actively reviving Native Hawaiian culture, such as Punana Leo Schools and the Polynesian Voyage Society. Shaka Guide and Gypsy Guide are our main competitors. They both offer location-based information, and Shaka Guide provides Native Hawaiian information. However, ʻIke Island is special in providing knowledge from a Native Hawaiian lens, giving you stories directly from cultural practitioners and kupuna in the community. ʻIke Island is also dedicated to financially supporting the community members who are sharing their knowledge and making ʻIke Island possible.
The ʻIke Island app will be free and available to download on the iOS App Store and the Google Play Store. On the free version, there will be ads displayed and it will give users access to the basic features. We also allow users to upgrade to the premium version of the app with weekly or annual subscriptions. The weekly subscription will be $5 a week and will grant users access to the premium features such as more stories, tour guides, and the removal of ads. This option is perfect for tourists visiting Hawaii looking for a cheaper way to learn more about the Hawaiian Islands. The annual subscription is $75 a year and will grant the same access to premium features, but it's more suitable for tour guides learning to deepen their knowledge about the Hawaiian Islands to create better value for the customers and residents of Hawaii looking to know more about their home. In 2019, there were more than 10 million people visiting the Hawaiian Islands. If we can get just 5% of that 10 million to visit our app, we'll have more than 500,000 annual users. Our more conservative estimate is 2%. And if we still get the conservative estimate, we'll still have more than 200,000 people using our app every year. Within the first 2 days of our website launch, we've gotten 186 page views. We've gotten 63 Instagram follows within our first day of launching our Instagram page and 42 website visits on our first website launch. We are also talking with Mark Lay, the Director of Marketing for the Four Seasons Hualalai, and we're talking about promoting our ʻIke Island app within the Four Seasons Hotel.
Our team is spread across 3 different islands and we all have different skills, but we unite together under our love for Hawaiian culture.
So you're probably wondering what this has to do with you or how you can help. If you're interested in supporting ʻIke Island's quest to spread cultural information and knowledge in Hawaii and beyond, please visit our website and Instagram where you can learn more about us. Your feedback and suggestions would be extremely helpful. We're also looking for app designers, web developers, and web developers, sorry. We'd love to include information about more places in Hawaii. So we're looking for Hawaii cultural practitioners, kupuna, and knowledgeable community members who are willing to share their stories with us. Thank you for your time.
That was incredible. We are all so proud of you, and we are all so grateful that that you have poured forth your energies and who you are into this solution and into this problem space. I want to dive into protocols really quickly. Throw your chats into the chat box here. If you're on the YouTube strain, you can click the YouTube link below the video window to access the live chat. Those questions will be fed in as well. The power of this is when we have those questions. My first question is to the team. Anyone can jump in. Why did you hone in on this problem space?
We decided to hone in on this problem space because of the community around us. In Hawaii, we see the Hawaiians and the native people struggling because their culture doesn't get respected. So we hope to gain more knowledge for people so that there can be a mutual respect.
Anyone else want to jump in?
Yeah, I think our ancestors in Kupuna have such great knowledge, and that's oral stories is how knowledge and mo'olelo got passed down through the entirety of the Native Hawaiian, the lifespan of the Native Hawaiians. So I think utilizing their native and cultural knowledge and skills and displaying that so people can learn more about the Hawaiian culture, and we can also keep the stories alive and also get them paid and monetize their knowledge and wisdom.
So tell me about the process of creating this. Tell me about kind of the learning journey that you went on to get here.
Honestly, we had a lot of help from the facilitators here at Nalukai and the various resources. We have had a lot of help, but we just jumped right in. We didn't know what we were wanting to do at first, but we just kept on working throughout the days and kept on changing up our solutions, changing up what we wanted to focus on. So it wasn't really like a set way to come to this this end product. We just did a lot of trying experimentations, and we somehow ended up with this. So yeah.
Sienna, how about for you?
So the process for us, we really wanted to somehow include Hawaiian history in our solution and find a way to give back to the community.
Sienna, what was the most important moment in this 12-day journey for you?
I think the most important moment in this 12-day journey for us, or for me, was when we launched. I'd say this because it felt like what we did actually like came to life, and like what we've been working so hard for actually happened. Yeah.
So this year we have team leaders. Actually, last year we had them too. And team leaders are Nalukai alumni that that really act as motivators. How else would you describe them, Mr. Clark?
Our team leaders are people that came to us when we put out a call. When we first went virtual last year in the midst of COVID, when we were concerned about how we could create this unique Nalukai culture. And we had team leaders respond saying they wanted to come be a part of camp. It's an idea that we've had for a while. Last year, it became an imperative for us to do so, so that they could work alongside the students and they could help perpetuate some of the traditions that we have when we get the chance to meet live, and to approximate those as much as possible. They are tremendously devoted there with the students from 8:30 in the morning until 8:30 at night, and they play that really delicate, balanced role of offering suggestions, but also giving them space to make the program their own. So sometimes they lead the way, but often they set back and let them organize their process.
Kai, how did your team leader, who is your team leader, and how did they help you in this process? Thank you, Mr. Clark.
Our team leader was Kea, and she was great. She helped us a lot to manage our time, to give us pointers on what we should improve. She used her past experiences in Nalukai to sort of guide us and give us pointers and tips to improve our overall project, even like some of the side projects we did. She helped a lot during the presentation. She helped us to really tune down on what we needed to improve on, whether it be speaking or whether it be changing some of the information within the slides. So she used her experience and leadership to help us a lot.
Our next question comes in from Stephanie Shipton, who I'm going to ask it live.
Thanks, Aaron. I really loved this idea. And the whole time you all were sharing, I was thinking, oh, what a better alternative to things like Shaka Guide. And super appreciated the intentionality around grounding in local communities and, you know, making sure that money is flowing back to those spaces and uplifting these stories. I'm curious, one thing that Shaka Guide is running into a lot is community pushback, because they are seen as contributing to tourists taking over, ruining spots that, you know, have been locals only or hidden or secret in the past. My husband grew up in Kailua, and that's one of the things he always talks about, right, is Monowili Falls and what's happened to that hike in that space. And I know that there was a lot in the news recently about the road to Hana and, you know, similar things, specifically complaints about things like Shaka Guide. So I'm curious about how your app would decide which spots to highlight and address that challenge of, you know, driving tourists to places or spaces that maybe there might be some tension around.
Well, we hope to cover as much as we can about the Hawaiian Islands. There's significant stories about every place on the island. What we're hoping with the app is that when people learn about the history and the culture behind it, they'll develop a better sense of mutual respect for the Aina and respect for the people that live in the area. So we're hoping that through our app, they'll develop a better understanding of the place and treat it with more respect. And hopefully we'll get less complaints of, let's say, like a rowdy tourist just going there to have fun, but hopefully they can learn more about the culture, and that'll in turn allow them to have more respect for the place they're visiting.
Thank you for the question. Go for it, Caleb.
We also want to, like Kai said, we want to educate them about it. So maybe if they know about it, they won't be as apt to trying to go see it for themselves. So if we explain the cultural significance and they gain that respect, they might understand that more about how that space is and how it's been treated.
Thank you. Two beautiful responses. So we have so many comments pouring in. One of my favorite human beings, Leo'u, says, "This is an amazing resource to educate the tourists, but also a great resource for our own people." I love that comment. Someone on the YouTube stream, Caridad Stevens, says, "I heard a weekly and annual subscription, but what about a monthly subscription?" What does your team think?
Well, we went with the weekly subscription because the average stay for tourists in Hawaii is about 6 or 7 days. So it's perfect. It fits right within that window. Annual subscriptions, we were thinking if someone is going to get an annual subscription, they're most likely going to live on the island or be here a lot. The only reason why we didn't go with a monthly subscription is because it's sort of like in an awkward place in between. Like, most likely a tourist isn't going to stay in Hawaii for an entire month. And most likely residents aren't just going to want to get it for a whole month. So that's our approach to being having a weekly and annual subscription.
I love it. We have a couple questions that ask kind of similar things. What did each team member do on this? And Kai, why don't you start us out?
Yeah, so I developed the website for ʻIke. I did most of the I did the 3 slides that I presented. I was doing a lot of research on how many people come into Hawaii and the metrics of our website performance and how much of the general market that come to Hawaii, how much of that market we could estimate to capture. And Caleb, did you want to explain what you did?
Yeah, so basically, I was just trying to involve how we can connect the culture to an actual sustainable business and how we can incorporate different ideas that that will benefit our community more. I also was working on looking at some history and making a couple videos for our media.
So my role in our team was the graphic designer and social media designer, as well as the person who dealt with the branding. And our team member who couldn't be present with us today is Erica, and she was an app designer and the social media designer as well.
Well, I wanted to thank your team so much. There are like 45 questions that I want to ask, but we have 5 other incredible teams to dive into too. Our next team is Kukui Kūpaʻa. The floor is yours.
Aloha, Nalukai facilitators, founders, parents, and community members. My name is Tate Goodman, and I have the esteemed privilege of introducing you to Kukui Kūpaʻa, a student-led business based on Oahu that works to fight Hawaii's electricity crisis through the advocacy of sustainable energy. Although Hawaii has made strides towards renewable energy in the past, we remain to be the most dependent state on petroleum within the US, and around 62% of our energy is being sourced from petroleum. Even more startling, all oil reserves are expected to deplete by 2052. Because we have to import our petroleum here, Hawaii has the highest cost of electricity in the country. The price per kilowatt hour of electricity in Hawaii is almost 3 times as much than that of the US average. And this price is expected to exponentially increase within the following few years. This is a clear and urgent issue. We must decrease our reliance on petroleum and increase renewable energy use here on the islands. Here at Kukui Kūpaʻa, we seek to educate, inspire, and create change within our community concerning our energy crisis. Meet our founders, Amanda, Olivia, and Annabelle. We are all residents of these islands whose families have experienced the high cost of electricity. Additionally, we have all been active in Hawaii's beautiful environment from an early age, whether it's swimming in the ocean or hiking in the lush mountain ranges. As ecopreneurs, we know that if we don't educate the public on this issue and advocate for change immediately, Hawaii's beauty won't last, and our children won't be able to experience what we have had.
Yes, and we essentially founded Kukui Kūpaʻa in our response to Hawaii's energy crisis. We are an educational organization devoted to raising both awareness and funds for the cause. Aside from maintaining an educational Instagram account and website throughout the year, Kukui Kūpaʻa will organize a monthly Kukui Con. This convention will bring together various people in the community who can use their combined skill sets and ideas to end Hawaii's energy crisis.
And in efforts to raise awareness for said crisis, we chose a very special name for our organization. In a literal sense, kukui nuts contain oil that was once used to fuel lights and lanterns in Hawaii, so they quite literally bring light to our world. And it follows then that they also bring enlightenment and guidance, 2 values that we work hard to achieve through our work here, hence the symbolism of our kukui nut logo. And to push those values even further, the word kupa'a translates to steadfast, determined in thought, and loyal to our cause, because we will persist and work to raise awareness.
Yes, and just as kukui nuts bring light to the world, our Kukui Con will enlighten the minds of those involved. Local artists will produce work that represents their interpretation of Hawaii's energy crisis, and this work will be featured at the convention. Participants will be encouraged to purchase art goods and goods from local businesses who will also be present at the convention, interact with sustainable electricity companies, and attend various educational workshops to learn more about the energy crisis. We also decided that our Kukui Con will be marketed towards Hawaii's families, teachers, and environmental enthusiasts. Our convention has been looking for local businesses, artists, and environmental advocates who might want to participate in the facilitation of the event. And considering there are over 100,000 vulnerable small businesses in Hawaii who could benefit financially from leveraging the use of renewable energy sources, as well as hundreds of local artists and thousands of environmental advocates, finding these participants shouldn't necessarily be difficult. Our convention would be held at the Kapiolani Park Bandstand in Oahu, as seen in the images above, because this has a lot of space and is often empty throughout the year. This is an example of how it would be organized.
Those interested in participating in our convention here at the bandstand, either as regular participants or as facilitators, can sign up on our website. We'll be charging $10 per ticket, as well as an initial fee for local businesses and artists who want to showcase their work at our convention. And as well as this, we will collect 10% commission from our vendors, and all of these funds will be used to grow our business and also to help members of our community afford sustainable energy sources.
And when we talk about the consumer benefits, we recognize that our customers, whatever their background, they're coming into the convention maybe feeling confused, getting slightly overwhelmed, really just not knowing what to do about this energy crisis. And we aim to change that. During KukuiCon, we want to expose them to art, to social events, to workshops, all while learning about what they can do, seeing renewable energy in action, and really gaining that Kukui enlightenment. This is where business meets science, meets social fulfillment. This is how we inspire change. And once our consumers leave the venue, they're feeling empowered and educated, ready to act in their own lives.
So aside from these very clear benefits, our convention is also a lot more affordable and accessible than most similar events, which tend to charge around $15 to $20 per ticket and take up to 40% commission. And then as well as this, our convention has a wider variety of attractions than most, and it is entirely powered by renewable energy. So as a result, our convention will have a higher turnout than previous environmental events, and our impact will be larger and more widespread.
And moving into the widespread online following that we've gained in the 3 days since our launch, our Instagram has seen over 200 interactions, and we've had nearly 1,000 views overall on TikTok, which is crazy. And a good portion of those users have been funneled through to our website, where we're definitely seeing steady engagement. In terms of plans for future growth, we are in the process of reaching out to Hawaii News Now for some media coverage that will reach a broader audience of Hawaii residents. We would also like to expand our social media campaigns, which will mostly involve more Instagram shoutouts and outreach for partnerships. Currently, we are partnered with M. Watanabe Electric and a local jewelry business that is actually run by one of our founders' classmates, which, just goes to show the wide variety of vendors that we plan to have at KukuiCon. For today, we are asking you to please just spread the word out and help us grow. If you scan the QR code in the bottom right, it'll take you to our website where we have all of our social media and sign-up links readily available. And for the future, we are looking for potential partners who can offer financial support, as well as vendors like local artists and business owners, and then also energy experts who would like to participate. Whatever your interest, whatever your background, we are hoping that you'll join us at Kukui Kūpaʻa. Together, our future is bright. And mahalo nui for your time today. Thank you so much.
Wow, fantastic, fantastic job, team. What did that feel like? We've gone through rounds of presentation prep. What did it feel like to just get that out into the world? Liv, why don't you start us first?
It is definitely, it's not necessarily a weight lifted off your shoulders. It's more of a, you just feel kind of relieved to get it over and just really happy that other people have this information and it's out there in the world in another form now. Yeah.
Amanda, you came to life in this program. I just walked away so incredibly impressed with how you took in all of this, the fire hose approach that is Nalukai, but how you took ownership and leadership. What happened? Where did that spark occur for you?
I'm not sure exactly, but I think it has a lot to do with my group and everyone in the program having so much confidence. I guess it kind of just rubbed off on me.
What was your role on the team?
I think I had multiple roles. I started out with working with the social media and helping with a few of the posts, but then I gravitated towards helping here and there with like the video media and a lot of the ideas we as a group came up with. So
thank you. Annabelle, we had some incredible kind of evening speakers. Were there any that kind of gave you ideas or inspiration for this idea that you were all getting out into the world?
I think that all of the speakers in general really contributed to just like overall my mindset about how passionate everyone was. And it was just interesting to see that everyone succeeded at things that they loved. So it really encouraged me to pursue things that I actually enjoy. So yes.
Hey, what are you proud of? What are you proud, for yourself and for this team over the past 12 days?
I'm proud to have finished. I'm proud to have produced such a great idea and solution to this problem. And I'm proud of our team for collaborating and working profusely to just produce an idea. And we worked our hardest on it. We did our best, and I'm so proud of what we accomplished.
Thank you. We're all extremely proud of you too. Tate, what was your role within the team?
So my role was mostly just website managing. I came to this group with my idea, and they all gladly agreed to join me, and we were all passionate about it. I guess I also just tried to help lead. We all led, but yeah, I think it was a collaborative effort.
Annabelle, what was your role? What did you do?
I worked with Amanda a lot to make the social media posts for Instagram and TikTok. And then I also worked a lot on the slides with the rest of the teams and just putting together our presentation.
And Liv, what was your role? What did you do?
I would say I had my hands in a couple different pots over here, but everything was so collaborative that I would say every single person was like graphic designer, like web layout, Instagram layout, like everyone was so like working together. I mostly focused on graphics and like building just like content to use in every kind of presentation, promotional materials and whatnot.
So we have a question from Faith. In what ways can outer island people participate with the activities and engagement? It's a great question, Faith.
I know I just spoke, but I'll take this one. So initially our idea was that we would have KukuiCon sort of all over the islands, but just in terms of sort of venue limitations, and especially because of COVID, outside venues at the moment seem a little bit more public health friendly. I would say that in the future, there's potential possibilities for expanding KukuiCon if it does turn out to be kind of a hit, we'll see. I would say in terms of like right now, anyone, anywhere. We even had someone visiting our website from Sweden. You can just go online and honestly support us that way, whether it's watching our video, liking our Instagram like reel or whatever. Everything honestly makes a difference.
We have a question coming in from the YouTube. Keep those questions coming. From Cole, are there any ways you can see incorporating schools into KukuiCon?
Yeah, absolutely. So since we are an educational organization, our main target audience is actually schools and people who are looking to educate themselves on this crisis. And so not only do we want to have schools have field trips to our convention, but also have them maybe display their artwork if they're in a painting class or drawing class, have them come showcase their art, and then maybe they can even sell it, gain a profit off of it, create their own businesses.
I love that response. We have a comment and question from Jade Frank. Energy justice is intrinsically tied to an equitable, clean future here in Hawaii. Sadly, lots of people here struggle to see a future different from the norm because things have been the same for 100+ years. What do you all think is most important when trying to open minds to potentially scary change?
I'll answer this question. I think the most important thing is, or one of the most important things, is how this convention would provide like a friendly environment, something that would be kind of more comfortable for the community members, since there would be local businesses. You could just kind of mingle and it wouldn't be just businesses. So going to a business convention can be a little scary for families or just kind of like odd, but making it more comfortable and open for the public is important.
Mr. Clark, do you have a question for this incredible team?
I actually think Tate had an additional answer he wanted to give. Tate, can you?
Thank you, Mr. Clark. I was just going to say that COVID has been challenging for a lot of people, and it's in these times of challenges that you could ignite change. So the time to act is now. Just wanted to share that. Thank you, Mr. Clark.
I love this idea, and I love that it was inspired by this intersection of a problem that you see. Energy dependence, dependence on fossil fuels, dependence on petroleum, and a really novel solution, which started with the idea of let's display art. And it grew, right, to the idea of a convention where people could rally around, see art, listen to performers, mingle with people who might be engaged and knowledgeable about this particular issue. So you've created a forum for really important discussion. And you've also gotten our attention by showing us that this is a vital problem, that there's an urgency to this. So I love the idea, Liv, I think you said it really beautifully, that this is where science and art, right, and social interaction all comes together. And what a beautiful thing. I think it'd be a great way to spend a weekend day. Learning more about something while also getting exposure to wonderful art and culture and music and, you know, food booths and whatever it might be. So nice job. Very nice job, team.
So we have a question coming in around if this event is just once a year, or can it grow to kind of smaller, almost clubs? You've got this one big kind of thing that happens. How do you sustain that momentum? How do you not just have the excitement and then kind of the drop off afterwards?
Well, we were considering doing this event monthly actually instead of annually. Initially, we were considering doing it annually, but we decided that in order to like grow our organization more, it would be better to do it more frequently. And we also are planning on keeping up our social media pages throughout the year to interact with potential participants and expanding in that way as well.
I want to thank your team so much for tackling a really broad issue and scoping down to find something that you can make a difference and change on. Our next team is Brainy.
Aloha kako. Again, I'd just like to thank you all for coming. Over 85% of the people interviewed from ages 16 to 45 in Hawaii stated that they did not have a consistent mental health routine, despite knowing several factors that contributed to mental wellness. As high-performing high school students, we have struggled and have friends who have struggled with poor mental health, simply due to the stresses of everyday life. We have all found ourselves feeling less capable, motivated, and just overall unprepared to take on the world because of the high stress situations that come with the responsibilities of schoolwork, personal life, and extracurricular activities. The good news is that there are many mental health resources out there that allow people to effectively manage a major aspect of mental wellness, which is mindfulness. When used effectively, they can mitigate many of the effects of poor mental health and improve mental wellness. Unfortunately, these existing solutions have many problems that limit their success. Firstly, there is a major negative stigma surrounding mental health that deters many people from seeking help through resources or other people in the first place. Secondly, it is very costly for premium plans. They can charge up to $20 per month for access to certain meditations. And since many people don't even recognize their mental health as an actual priority, they often avoid paying for effective meditations and mindfulness activities. These apps also just don't address the entire problem. Mindfulness is just one aspect of maintaining mental wellness. There are 4 other main factors that contribute to mental wellness that aren't included in most other mainstream mental health apps.
And that's where this little guy comes in. This is Braini, your personal holistic health pal. When your Braini is happy, so are you. Our different approach focuses on holistic health instead of just mental health. Braini understands that mental wellness involves more than just mindfulness. That's why we are designed to track fitness, community engagement, hydration, and nutrition as well. Braini makes keeping track of these 5 key factors easy and effective with GPS tracking, Bluetooth interaction between users, and integration with apps and products such as Fitbit and Apple Watch. Braini knows that people who exercise report having 1.5 fewer days of poor mental health a month compared to people who do not. That's why a personalized fitness tracking system is one of the unique features Braini provides. Most mental health and mindfulness apps don't include this crucial fitness aspect. Braini also knows that practicing regular gratitude journaling has been shown to result in a 5 to 15% increase in optimism. That's why our app provides users with a customizable digital gratitude journal where they can earn mindfulness points to boost their Braini. In addition, Braini knows that 63% of community engagement activities lead to feelings of empowerment within the members involved. For this reason, our app encourages community engagement on a daily basis. Through our intuitive GPS tracking system, users can see where other Brainis are on the map and interact with them to organize social events. These events include group fitness activities, entertainment, community service, and more. Braini knows that 75% of Americans are chronically dehydrated. As little as 1% dehydration can negatively affect your mood, attention, memory, and motor coordination. That's why we brought hydration into the app with timely reminders that help you take water and other healthy liquids regularly throughout the day. Lastly, Braini knows that restricted eating and malnourishment can result in increased symptoms of depression, anxiety, and stress. To tackle that aspect of the issue, Braini encourages users to eat a balanced diet with a daily reminder system, including meal suggestions, nutrition information, and healthy local choices in your area. Earning points in each of the mentioned holistic health categories will help your Braini look and feel way better, just like you. Consistency is key, however, to seeing holistic health improvements in our everyday lives. To help users of our app stay consistent in their use and make using our app a habit, Braini has partnered with locally owned and operated businesses in Hawaii. So far, we have partnered up with Frost Kailua and Timmy T's Gourmet Grinders to provide our users with discounts when they maintain their holistic health.
Unlike other health apps that only focus on one of the 5 dimensions of wellness, Braini seamlessly incorporates and tracks all 5 dimensions in one app. We don't have direct competition because we provide a truly unique service.
As students ourselves, we understand that we are at the highest risk for poor mental health. That is why we marketed Braini for those within the same psychographic as us, young students who experience high levels of stress. We are projected to have an exponential user growth due to the referral program that we implemented. When users refer a friend, they both receive extra points, which can be redeemed for deals at their local businesses, as mentioned earlier. We have developed two different business models to sustain ourselves, starting with advertisements. Local businesses can pay us to reserve ad space on loading screens, homepages, etc. Not only are we supporting small businesses by giving them a new promotional channel, we are boosting our local economy. Before we allow companies to advertise, we will personally be investigating the values of each company and make sure they align with ours. In addition, we will also organize in-app challenges sponsored by local businesses. We also follow a freemium business model. Braini is free to download, but users can purchase in-game cash to exchange for accessories and skins in the shop to dress up their Braini. Since we launched, Braini has teamed up with 2 partnering local organizations, gained over 100 social media followers, and secured 10 pre-launch signups and counting for our app. There is a high demand for Braini, and our app is respected by businesses in our local economy.
Our team is comprised of 4 of the most passionate students in Hawaii. Aloha, my name is Cami, and I'm Braini's graphics designer.
Hi, my name is Dante, and I'm Braini's project manager.
Hi, my name is Rumen, and I'm Braini's marketer.
I am Makana, and I'm Braini's web developer. Our amazing team is looking to expand. We are currently seeking an app developer who can take our vision and turn it into a reality. Thank you for your time, and be sure to follow us on our socials. Braini Hawaii on Instagram, and sign up on our website, brainihealth.app, to never miss an update. Thank you.
Great job, Braini, and great job to the rest of your team. The branding was on point. The color schemes were fantastic. The aesthetics were immaculate. Thank you so much. What are you proudest of in this experience?
I'll go first. I am
honestly,
honestly, I am just very proud of the fact that we managed to put all this together within the 2 weeks that we got here. We were able to get together with our group members. We were able to learn each other's strengths and weaknesses, and we were able to make up for them and help each other throughout the progress.
Rumen, how about you?
Yeah, to add on to what Cami said, I really felt like we created like a bond, and like although we've never met each other in real life, it was easy for us to bounce ideas off of each other, and we had like a lot of ideas on how to like tackle like mental health and holistic health, and like I'm proud that we were able to incorporate so many ideas into one cohesive app.
Thank you. Makana, we hear time and time again from Nalukai founders that their experience with group work is usually them doing most of the work, and sometimes it's not a great experience. How was this different for you? How was working with this team a different way of engaging with teammates than you had in the past?
Question. I felt like the work was evenly spread out, or not even like it had to be like everyone did what they were good at, and we had a successful product afterward. I definitely would prefer to work with this team again in any other kind of project.
And Dante, tell me about going from the solution to your minimum viable product. What was that experience like? What did you do?
Well, we knew that we wanted to sort of gain interest first in our app and see if there was demand for it before we developed it into an app. So we developed a website and a social media campaign to direct people to our website, which had a link to a form where people could submit their interest in the app. And it was designed so that potential customers would assume that they were downloading the app, because we made it so that it appeared that they were about to download the app when they clicked, and then they were referred to a form. So that gave us honest feedback from our target audience and allowed us to realize that we had a really strong idea here that really addressed the problem. And then we developed all the graphics and the aesthetic of our company to make something that would resonate with our audience.
Thank you. We have a statement that comes in. There's a lot like it that have come in the chat from Joyce. This is awesome! Exclamation point. As a soldier and full-time college student, it is tough to keep track of everything that affects our health. I would love to have access with this app. We have another question that asks, so when is the release date?
So we're actually looking for like app developers. So if you guys are very like skilled and like experienced, we would love for you to join our team.
It's a wonderful response. We have a great question from Stephanie. The question is, what do you think would be the biggest speed bump to scaling, to growing this idea? And what are the biggest opportunities?
I think one of the biggest speed bumps is getting people to realize that their mental health is a priority, and that their holistic health is a priority. And upscaling would just require a lot of high scale marketing to really resonate with our target audience and show them that this app can really create some big major impacts on their lives. We'd also need to work with an app developer who knows how to gamify our concept to the extent that we want to make it appealing. And of course, bringing together a much larger portfolio of local businesses to partner with us to provide incentives for our users of our app to really take charge of their holistic health.
Thank you. Anyone in the team, what's a moment that stood out to you over the past couple days?
One moment that stood out to me was when we like got the website domain like finished, and it was like an actual published website. I was like, what? Dang, this is a legit thing now. So it was like really cool to see that everything that we put all into one box that kind of like actually worked.
Someone else, please join in.
Do you want to go, Dante?
No, go ahead, Kemi.
Another big moment that kind of helped me realize how well our team was working together, and it was just like, wow, we've actually gotten this far, was I had drawn up some concepts for our app, and Ruben was able to beautifully integrate all of my ideas into an actual prototype, and it was amazing. And I was just like, wow, we can actually get somewhere with this, and it can actually make an impact on other people.
Yeah, I'd also like to add, I think there was one moment when Cami brought out the first, I think, prototype of the concept for our mascot, Braini. And when she first presented it to the whole Zoom room, I mean, I just noticed our entire group's face just lit up when we knew we had something just truly amazing. And Braini, it really was inspiring seeing it come to life. And Cami's graphic design skills really helped us there. And that moment was something I'll remember.
So tons more questions coming in. Here's a comment from Tamsin. Will there be any merchandise? Because I would love to have that cute brain on a hat.
Yeah, definitely. We could turn that into reality, you know, maybe have like little plushies like on your bed or something to remind you to go to sleep.
I love it. It sounds like, Kate asks, thank you for your presentation. It sounds like you've tapped into a great need. What age range would you like to focus on first?
So when we launched our website, in our sign up forms, we actually included a few questions to kind of gauge the demographics. And we have concluded that most of our respondents age ranged from 16 to 21. So kind of like those young students, high school, college students with a lot of like responsibilities and high stress levels.
I'd like to throw the next question to Austin Stewart.
Thank you, Aaron. One of the unique aspects of your solution that jumps out at me is that it's built around this digital pet named Braini. I'm interested where the idea to bring a digital pet into a mental wellness or mental health application came from. Like, what was there a moment of inspiration? I'm interested in that history.
So we actually had like a digital avatar at first where you can customize yourself, kind of like The Sims. But as we started designing and drawing up concepts, we decided on a brain app or a little cute little brain pet. So just because it's like a little bit more unique, you know, it's not as seen.
Adding on to what Rumen said, we were also originally trying to go for a video game aspect to kind of take the focus off of mental health and kind of bypass the stigma of, oh, you're trying to take care of your mental health. Are you kind of weird or like mentally ill? And Brainy was just an even cuter way to make this like, oh, it's a cute app where you can interact with other people. And then as an added bonus, you can take care of your mental health.
So what closing kind of words do you have to other youth that are in this creation space? What inspired you here at Nalukai?
All of us, oh, sorry.
I would just say really if you don't know how to go about something, really dive into it. I think that's something we've learned from a lot of our guest speakers this week and a lot of other entrepreneurs or young entrepreneurs who are out here is develop your idea. And if you have a passion for it, go with it. Because before this camp, I probably wouldn't have dove into this idea as deep as I did, you know, because I don't know how to develop an app. And I don't have these, you know, there's no other people who would be willing to work on this with me. But you know, I've realized working with such a great team and, you know, really brainstorming and collaborating so much on this idea that if you just put your mind to it and you bypass thinking about the future and how you're going to get it to happen, some great things can come about, and who knows where your project and your idea can take you.
Definitely. Like I echo everything that Dante said, and something I've noticed with like the guest speakers at Nalukai, the founders ourselves, is that figure it out mindset. Like if you put your heart to it, then like, you know, everything else will follow.
I love that. Thank you so much, Brainy, and your incredible team. I'm just going to keep treating Brainy like their avatar and human being. Can we give some big Nalukai snaps for this team? So we're gonna go on a 6-minute break to let our founders actually get to stand up, walk around, and at 2:10 we're gonna start right back up again with our next team, Clean Honua, that I'm so excited for you to hear from. Before we feel free to leave, but and jump up. I want to push you to nalukai.org, and I want to push you to support us, to hit that donate button. This is a free program, and it's free for a reason. It creates an incredible cohort of students from all over the Hawaiian Islands that represent the power of this place, public, private, charter. This is a really, really special experience, and we want it to continue. So we push you to go to nalukai.org, hit that support button, and give what you can. We love what we do. It is my favorite time of the year. I will not tell my family that. Hopefully they're not on this live stream, but it is by far my favorite time of the year. And I know it is for so many people that have devoted so much of their lives to this. So please, again, nalukai.org, hit that support button and give what you can. We'll see you back at 2:10 for our next team, Clean Honua.
Hey, Aaron. It's Melissa.
Aloha, Melissa.
Sorry for being late. I was like, oh my gosh. I couldn't hear anything. I don't know. I had to like plug it to a different source. But are you running this in increments then? And so everyone left and kind of regrouping?
So we're all coming back in about 4 minutes. and
Okay.
everyone's still here for that space.
Okay, okay. Oh, very good. Very
It's
good.
great to see you.
Okay, thanks. See you. Bye.
Hi guys, it's Alan Murabayashi.
Welcome, Alan. We're so excited for your fire questions for the next 3 presenters. I'm just going to put all the pressure on you. Thank you so much for being here, Alan. We're excited to see you tomorrow as well.
Hey, Alan. Thanks for joining.
My pleasure.
We will start back up again at
Describes my
2:10.
feeling at Nalukai is inspired.
Growth,
Exciting. Connected. Validated.
encouraged. Johanna,
Belonging. Intoxicating.
Exciting.
Challenge.
Grateful.
Excited.
Encouraged.
work,
Inspiring.
Inspiring.
Grateful.
Anticipation.
Blown away.
Enrichment.
Motivated.
enlightened,
Trust or believe.
I don't know if a single word could describe the way that I feel about Nalukai, but definitely the phrase hit the ground running.
Right, Jack. And we are back. We are live. We are ready for Act 2 of Nalukai 2021. Can I get a big, silent round of applause for Clean Honua?
Aloha, everyone. My name is Nick White.
I'm Shyler Akia.
I'm Malia Kozlowski.
And my name is Kiai Talit, and together we are Clean Honua. We are a company dedicated to working directly with the community to educate and impact Hawaii by tackling the problem of ocean trash in our waters. Over 20 tons of trash wash up on our shores every single year, and a significant percentage of the plastics contaminating Hawaii's waters originate from within the state. Over 1 million seabirds and 100,000 sea mammals are killed every year due to ocean trash. And this is a significant and just horrible thing that impacts our environment so greatly.
So to widen our perspective and get a better understanding, we interviewed people within our community. Personally, for me, I surf, and whenever I go out surfing, I encounter trash, but then there's the problem, where do I put it? I could put it inside of my bathing suit. Sorry, I could put it inside of my bathing suit, but it just falls out and it's pointless. But one of the significant stories that we heard was from Jack Solomon. He's a frequent surfer at Kewalos. And if you don't know, Kewalos is a local surf spot where families and even children go out to surf. He said that he has seen hypodermic needles floating around. And when we heard this, it was just scary and sickening.
So to solve this problem, we created something called the trash trap that you see in front of you. In its most basic terms, it's basically just a trash can for the ocean that can both float and be submerged. Our company is trying to put these out in frequented surf spots here around the islands, also dive locations, and just general trafficked areas by people who use our oceans. Now, the main trash can itself, which is the yellow part, is actually made out of recycled injection molded PET plastic. And it just serves the purpose of allowing for a buoyant flotation device. You can see that we added a few things to the front of the device that would serve more than just this flotation role, however. So the two canisters that you see in front there are compressed gas canisters, which can flood the internal structure of that yellow thing with air. And this allows us to actually take it scuba diving. So let's say you have a scuba diving tank, you want to go scuba diving and clean some trash up. What you can do is take this device, it'll fill itself up with water so it can sink to the bottom, and then you can drag it across the bottom, put different types of trash in, and when you're done, simply hit the red button on top. It'll flood the thing with air and it'll float to the surface where you can either drag it back to shore or someone will collect it. Now, as you can see on the left-hand side, there's a gray canister, which is basically the trash collection unit, and that won't let any trash escape once you put it in. This is just a scale reference model. So what you just saw was the oceanic trash trap over to your right-hand side. It's about 20 inches tall, 20 inches wide. But we also have a separate product known as the land or nearshore trash trap, which is 3 feet tall and 3 feet wide. And this is intended for either on land applications or shore or very near shore applications. So knee-high water or waist-high water basically just lets people put trash they find very close to shore in a trash can in the water rather than having to walk back up to some trash can hundreds and hundreds of feet away, disrupting their activity.
So this is a little diagram explaining how our product would work. So a diver or a surfer could see the trash, and instead of going all the way to shore, like Nick mentioned, to throw away the trash in a good way, the diver or surfer can find a nearby trash trap that is anchored to either in a channel or just somewhere, as Nick mentioned, in waist-high waters. Then they can just put the trash in there and it be ensured that it'll be safe in there and won't get out into the environment again. After, the hotels that lease it can come and collect the trash and give it back to us of whatever they collect, which will be sorted and redistributed to local artists or companies to repurpose it into local artworks or products that they can eventually sell for their own profit. And so one of our main competitors in this space that we identified is the Seabin project. We target totally different sections of the market. They're more industrial and don't really focus on the community because they're not really portable. They use electricity and they're really costly, coming around like $5,000. However, both our project and Seabins aim to keep the oceans clean and at an estimated cost that is much lower than the $90,000 that the Kauai County is looking to spend on a one-day organized beach cleanup. Clean Honua, however, involves the community, which brings the cost down even more to the $200 to $500 price range, depending on what size you buy.
To help our community, we are going to host monthly beach cleanups at local beaches with community volunteers. We're also going to go into schools and educate our children about the impact that the ocean trash has on our world and our environment. Some future partnerships that we are looking to have is, like Shyla said, with Seabin, with local hotels and diving and scuba companies in Hawaii. So for our revenue streams, we are going to start a Kickstarter to get us off of the ground. And our classic trash trap is going to be $500. Our mini trash trap is going to be $200. And our target demographic is mostly like hotels and resorts and marine sport companies, locals and tourists alike, surfers, divers, and families.
So let's look at what we've done so far. We have 3 social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. All are up and running with posts out. On Instagram, we have over 70 followers, and we've been exposed to over 100 accounts, 60% who weren't following us, and we actually gained followers from our post. LinkedIn, we have 10 followers and over 60 views on our first post. So here at Clean Honua, we have 3 values that we think are the most important to defining who we are as an organization. And that is kuleana, ho'omau, and laulima. Kuleana being the value of responsibility, and it is our responsibility to malama our aina, or take care of where we live and our island. Ho'omau is perseverance, meaning we will persevere all troubles that we will encounter, and we hope we don't, but we'll persevere and work through everything. Laulima is many hands, or the value of teamwork, and we will be working directly with our community through this value.
So our primary goal in our company is to just create a community of people who just genuinely care about protecting and cleaning up our island's waters. However, the goal that we're focusing on right now is to remove at least 1 ton of garbage by the end of this year using our products.
It would really help us out if you guys could visit our website at www.cleanhonua.com. And if you can't do that, we'd really like it if you, next time you go to the beach, you could just look around, be aware, and maybe pick up some plastic. Thank you guys so much.
Fantastic job, team. So much of Nalukai is about connecting art and science. And I think you did such a beautiful job, both in your presentation, but also in how your team worked. One of our guest facilitators, and really kind of a Nalukai founder herself, May Somali, joined us from Australia and really talked about the power of connecting art and science in presentation. How did your team do that? How did they create such a beautiful presentation?
I think that really goes to, speaks for the many different, I guess, skill sets that we have on our team. We have really talented graphic designers. We have people that work with numbers quite efficiently. And then we also just have people that are good at organizing and structuring different presentations. Kiai is really good at that. Shiloh's the graphic designer, and Malia is quite good at the statistics. I was able to produce some of the CAD, and I think just the unison of everyone's unique talents created a pretty cool project.
Yeah, you were able to do some CAD work. That was very, very evident. A small teeny bit. You did all of that, Nick, in this 2-week time period. Explain how on earth you were able to do that. Walk me through that process.
Yeah, again, the diverse, it's like you said earlier to one of the teams, it's been really nice to actually work with a group of people where you're not the one that's pulling the whole weight. So as a team member, you feel valued in a sense, but you also know that the other people in your team can bring just as much, if not more, to the table than you. So I was fortunate to have a great team to work with, and they really stepped up their game to put this all together in such a short amount of time.
Thank you. So many questions and comments in here about how this is real, how this needs to be, how this needs to get made, how this Kickstarter campaign needs to start as soon as possible. We have a question from Justin Brown, and the question is very Justin Brown-esque. He says, great cradle to cradle ecosystem support project. Have you considered turning the plastics into a local 3D printing filament? Question mark. Maybe printing new iterations of the trash trap.
We haven't thought of that, but that's a great idea that we can look into. I mean, we were initially focused on taking the trash that we took from these devices and repurposing them into reusable bags that we could then sell. That didn't come through in our presentation, but if you take a look at our website, you can find that information. I think it's a great idea personally, because it's just taking what you collect and turning into something that's useful for collecting even more. So it's just that circular cycle.
Yeah, you talk about the process of Nalukai, talk about forming teams, grappling with having to choose these solutions and problems. Talk about your growth.
So I'm just gonna talk about the process of how we got to this point, because I think that really shows our growth. We started off originally with a different idea and we were not like super far into it, but we kind of just, none of us really had like the drive to like continue with it. So we sat down and we were like, okay, what issues are we like so like that bothers us in our everyday life and that makes us sad and just brings out emotion in us. And we compiled this really big list of just things that annoy us basically. And we critically went through it, and it was just so nice to work with a team that like could give you constructive criticism without without me thinking I'm like taking it personally. Like, I don't know, every like criticism point that my team has given me or given each other has been so like thoughtful and kind. And yeah, we took this idea of not liking seeing trash in the ocean and we just ran with it. And we didn't exactly know what we were going to do, but we're just like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And we jumped in, and yeah, it was amazing.
Thank you. It's a wonderful answer. So we have a question from Stephanie. Have you explored a partnership with Surfrider and/or Sustainable Coastlines, two great organizations?
So I'm Malia. Hi. I work on the social media side, and we actually haven't reached out to anybody yet, but it is something that if we go through with this, that we are planning to look on in the future, because I think that partnerships with them would be very beneficial, not just to us, but for them too.
We have a comment in, thank you, Malia. We have a comment in from Mark Lay who states, I will back that Kickstarter. So we will hold Mark Lay accountable. Malia, so much of this was asking you to do some rich customer discovery, to reach out to people, to actually pick up the phone or to set up a Zoom. And that translated into some really important learning lessons as you moved into solution mode. Can you walk us through that?
So going through this, we did a lot of like calls to interview people within our community, whether that be like local businesses or just people we see in our everyday lives. And there was just that common sense of wanting to be able to help out, but not being able to help out. And like Kiai said, I think that's basically where our solution stemmed from, was trying to get together what everyone was saying and all the advice and input that we've been getting, and kind of bring that out into a product, something that could actually be feasible and usable. And then with that, I not necessarily reached out to them, but I did follow Lieutenant Josh Green on Instagram. And from that, I decided to send him a message. And I think I learned that after talking to our facilitators, that things with their generation and our generation are a bit different on how we use social media. And I think a big part of being left on seen by him was another way to tell us to be patient, because not everything is going to happen right away and we need to give everything time.
Shyla, tell me about your role on the team.
So my role on the team was the graphic designer, but although I kind of helped create content for Instagram, whether that was videos or posts, and but it's kind of what Liv was saying, how everyone kind of dabbled in everything because we had interests, but that wasn't really in our skill set. So our team leader made it a priority to, if we were interested in it, to just go forth and do it, even if we weren't good at it. And so I think we didn't really have roles in a sense. We kind of just went and did whatever felt right.
I love that. So many comments about that logo. What thought went into it? Was it a beautiful aesthetic design? Did it represent each member of the team? Tell me about it.
Well, I do like really short little drawings that are totally incomparable to understand. But the whole thing was like, we wanted to make something sleek, modern, and really entail like what we're all about. And that was like the waves in the bottom part. And we wanted to keep everything like neutral and like super relating to like the ocean and stuff, because that was what we're more focused towards. And a story that came up was like, oh, going out to the beach and having the sun just hit your skin and like just feeling so at peace. That's why like the whole sun and the waves just really connected all of us.
The design, the branding, I remember Mr. Clark saying, we got to get these on beaches. They're just so beautiful. That aesthetic definitely adds to it. We have a question from Melissa Wilson. She says, I saw the cost of the small and big device, but are there estimated costs and resources needed to create the prototype? Who might you involve to test the prototype, to provide input and feedback?
Yeah, so as one of our previous comments said, 3D printing will definitely be one of the main manufacturing techniques employed to make the prototype. It's quick, it's easy, and you can essentially break it down into chunks that you can then assemble together into a full prototype. I know Jack Solomon had already offered his support to help us film the whole promotional stuff for this, but I think just getting it out there and installing it and letting people use it will be the best feedback that we can get. So
a question that kind of adds on to that is, what is the goal for your Kickstarter campaign?
Yeah, you want to take that one?
I am not really sure yet, I'll be honest, but Nick can tell you how much it costs to make one of those. So I think, right, Nick? And yeah, Nick will tell you how much it costs to make one of those. So we probably would want us Kickstarter to help us make like a couple at first, so that we could just test out like a couple prototypes, so that we could test out the product and get some feedback from our community members, and just generally see if this big idea that we've had actually works. So yeah.
Got it. It was a good throwback. Our next question comes in live from Mark Lay.
Ooh, giving me a second to get my my mute off over there. Have you guys explored or how deep have you gone into possible revenue streams? I believe I heard you say a lease option, assuming there's a purchase option. Have you explored rentals? Perhaps somebody can take it on a trip with them. Have you sort of explored ideas beyond that first lease and purchase?
I mean, oh, sorry, you can go.
I think right now, because we're still developing our product and we haven't figured out exactly all of the logistics because of time, I think that's something that we want to look into in the future. And I think it's just allowing us to make time to look into all of these and get all the details settled and figured out.
Thank you. I just want to pose one last question to the team. What does it feel like to get an idea that is uniquely yours out into the world, and to hear this kind of response, this, oh my God, please continue with this response from this group?
I can take this one. I think that it's so like amazing to have like an idea that was just a concept at first, and we weren't even like sure what our concept was at first, to see like the progress and see how it is today, and see how the response is and how nice everything is. And it's really, in my opinion, when I first came to Nalukai, I was not an entrepreneur. I was a graphic designer. I knew nothing about business. So seeing this type of response kind of like validates like, oh, you're not just a graphic designer. Like when you put your skills to use, like you can be so much more.
It's a really beautiful answer. Thank you so much. We're going to move on to the next team, HaloWare.
Aloha mai everyone. We are Team Halo. I'm Joanna Pascual, and sexual assault has been a prevalent part of my life and my family's life ever since I was little. Sadly, everyone in this room most likely knows someone who's been a victim of sexual assault. As shown in a study in 2019 that showed 1 in 9 girls were sexually assaulted before the age of 18. But more recent studies showed that 1 in 6 children in 2021, regardless of gender, were sexually assaulted between the ages of 14 and 17, which you can tell is a drastic increase. And another sad statistic about this is that 80% of sexual assault victims never report. For it can be for many reasons, maybe fear of rejection, self-blame, confusion, and many other things. But for me, it was harder and harder to tell my family as the days went by from the incident. Effects of sexual assault can be lifelong, with anxiety, depression, eating disorders, denial, and so many other things. But now I would like to pass it over to Evan to tell you HaloWare's solution to this issue by preventing it in the moment.
Thank you, Joey. Yes, we are aware that sexual harassment is a major problem in our local and global community. And as we were brainstorming our solutions, we thought to make it as practical and as useful as possible. And while doing research into our product and how it would fit our market, we found that people preferred preventative measures over measures that would treat the problem that already happened. So we have a large audience today. I would like to thank everyone in attendance. And for anyone who might have any wearables on them, whether that be a watch, a ring, or a bracelet, could you just show that up to the camera real quick? Because these items are part of our everyday lives. They are with us, and they are all, to some people, they're a part of who we are. And we thought, why not give these wearables the capability to save our lives? So thus, we created the Orenda band, which is a bracelet that can ensure the safety of its users at an affordable price with a click of a button. This is our first prototype of the Orenda band. It has 3 main capabilities. It can track the user's location, and it can notify its contact of trusted users through 3 taps on the band, and it can simulate a phone call. So if you tap it 4 times, it will call your phone and you can disengage from potentially dangerous situations. And next, I'll pass it off to Levi to talk about contents of use.
Yeah, thanks, Evan. The Orenda band has a fundamentally simple user interface. After turning the bracelet on and enabling pairing mode, Orenda wirelessly connects to our smartphone app. From there, it's as simple as pressing Configure Band on the app and selecting the contacts of your trusted adults. In the screen, you can also select the number of taps associated with different actions. The mechanism which Orenda relies upon is trust. Trust between family members, friends, or counselors. Activate the band, and your location and custom message will be sent to those on that trusted contact list, or send it directly to authorities in case of emergency. You can even have the ability to call yourself to disengage from uncomfortable situations. Here's the first iteration of the HaloWare band circuit diagram. Implementing smart battery tracking and capacitive touch sensor technology, we provide peace of mind through a new generation of security wearables. All hardware is open source, and the software is released under the Creative Commons license, so you can use Orenda in your own projects. I'll now hand it over to Nella to examine the competition.
Thanks, Levi. We have found that the pool for the security jewelry industry is small, yet each company is addressing the same issue. In order to create the best version of our product, we reviewed Invisiware and Flare, 2 main businesses in the security wear industry. Here at HaloWare, we are trying to make it accessible to our community. We wanted to make it affordable, as Flare and Invisiware cost at minimum $129, but can cost up to $249, making it hard for the communities we grew up in to gain access to security wear. We realized that many children may not have the resources of a trusted adult, as some of those adults could be the assaulters. In order to best combat this situation, we made an option of putting available therapists and counselors into the trusted adults list. As Levi has explained beforehand, the bracelet also comes as user-friendly, which is one of the features inspired by the use incorporated into other businesses. We will now return to Levi, who will explain what our business model is and the cost it would take to manufacture.
Yeah, thanks, Anela. We plan to sell primarily to retailers through business-to-business marketing. Our secondary source of revenue will be through retail, such as selling to customers online through our website or through social media. The cost of our bracelet will be $49.99, which is nearly a third of the cost of our competitors' most affordable option. With a cost of goods sold estimated at around $21 and a profit margin of roughly $28.99, this equates to a 72% return. I'll now hand it over to Evan to explain our outreach metrics.
Thanks, Levi. This is our marketing funnel, and in the past 2 days, our traction and our content has been absolutely astonishing. We have had over 745 people visit our Instagram profile, and of those, 412 converted into followers. That gained 134 website visits, and out of the 134 people that visited our website, 103 of them clicked the buy now button, planning to buy the bracelet, to pre-order the bracelet. So overall, this leads to an over 13% conversion rate from the top of our funnel to the bottom, which indicates that we have a high interest in our product. People have messaged us on Instagram asking when they could buy it, if they could pre-order, and even influencers on Island have asked if they could test the bracelet and review it on their social media. So this is the team that made it all happen. We have Joanna, Levi, Anela, and myself. And although we are individuals from very different backgrounds and with very different qualifications, I think it's amazing how we were all able to come together and address such a severe issue as sexual assault and create such an effective team that was able to communicate so well and produce such an amazing prototype for the public. Now I'll pass it off to Anela.
Thanks, Evan. Knowing the problem and how we decided to solve it, you may be wondering how you can help. If you're an engineer or app developer, we would love your help, as manufacturing is not yet available with the amazing people on our team. If you're not one of these, no worries. The best thing to do is circulate what you have learned to inform others of sexual assault to protect future generations. If you have any questions or concerns, you can reach us through our email or Instagram for upcoming updates. After taking a look at our Instagram page, you may notice our website, also provided here, which will direct you to the pre-order of our bracelet. Mahalo nui for your time and generosity. We'll pause for a moment on this slide to give everyone a chance to check out our website by scanning this QR code.
Congratulations, team. Just incredibly proud. We have a couple questions that are similar. Talk about the process of uniting as a team around one problem.
I'll take this one. So obviously, showing the statistics, it showed that everyone's impacted by this. Not only the people who are sexually assaulted, but also the people around them. So as we looked into that, we also thought of a perfect world where, none of this would ever happen. And the fact that that's a bare minimum and it's not a reality that we can reach yet, our thinking process was, at the very least, if we can prevent it happening to some percentage of kids, or at least if a child is sexually assaulted, they feel more confident in bringing it up to adults, they would be able to share. So that's what brought us together, just to protect our community.
I love that. Thank you so much, Joanna. Anyone else want to answer that?
I'll just provide another quick insight. What I really appreciated is how our entire team was able to group together and work so effectively on this problem. And I feel that, I mentioned before, but we have such diverse people in our group from different islands and different backgrounds and educational stories. But I think it was kind of amazing just to see us all work together as such a functional team. And it was honestly inspiring for not only me, but I'm sure my future co-founders and their future endeavors.
Thank you for that. We have a question coming in from Jack Solomon that I'd like to ask him to ask live.
Wonderful job, founders. I was just thinking, I imagine there could be a market here for college students and young adults as well. And rather than notifying a parent, it could potentially notify a friend or a partner or another trusted individual. For example, like I know people in my life who have friends that track their location on their iPhone just for these types of situations. And I was wondering if you've considered this segment and done any research on this segment.
Yeah, so really, this ban is marketed towards really anyone who is concerned about the issue of sexual assault, right? Not just parents concerned about their kids, or it could be anyone, as you said, college students. And it just depends on who they trust with this information. So on the app, on the contact list, they can put the phone numbers of their friends, and when the ban is activated, it'll simply text their GPS location to their friends on their most trusted contact list.
Thanks for the question and thanks for the response, Levi. We have a question coming in live from Alan Murabayashi.
Hey, everyone. First of all, talk about a blind spot. I had no idea that security-based wearables was a category of product. And it was just a reminder to me that our lived experiences inform who we are, and there's a lot of market opportunity that exists outside of our own lives. My question is, I always get scared when you need to manufacture a physical device because I've come from the web world. There's so many challenges with manufacturing and iterating wearables and engineered devices. I wonder whether your MVP could just be an app to start with and to gain traction before you went into the manufacturing side of it. And the other point, most of the time, your retail price is multiples of COGS, not 72% of COGS. So you might want to analyze whether the price is actually sustainable as you grow your company.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's like really great insight, and maybe I'll address like the question about like whether our MVP should be an app and how like integral a piece of hardware is to our MVP. And first of all, we'd like to like give a huge hand to like Levi, who actually coded our entire app from scratch, and it's fully functional like as of right now. So the app is fully functioning, and the reason why we thought that a piece of hardware would be so important is because although apps like this exist on a phone, if you're in a situation, a phone might not necessarily be the first thing that is like available to you. It might be in your bag, it might be far away, and it's harder to discreetly use it. However, this band is built to be discreet, so in any situation, you will be able to use it with a higher efficacy rate than being able to to find your phone. But I do think that that's a really good insight that you gave, and just to explore like different possibilities and how like we don't necessarily have to be tied to a physical product. So thank you for the insight.
It's a wonderful response and wonderful question. Thank you so much. We have a question coming in from the YouTube. Important problem with an elegant solution. What type of security architecture are you planning to implement to protect vulnerable user data? You may want to avoid some open source code just for that.
Yeah, well, honestly, to be honest, that thought hasn't occurred to me, but definitely there's some thinking that can be applied to that. Currently, like Bluetooth serial port protocol that it utilizes very short range. So the chances that they'll be able to actually like access the data, that's because all the SMS is as you know super secure, right? The major vulnerability would be in the connection between the band and the phone. And so we could either implement AES encryption, or just like there's a multitude of things that could be applied to that, but we definitely will give it more.
Thank you, Levi, for a great response. My question is for Anela. Anela, what was your role? What did you do for your team?
So I was kind of everywhere like everyone else. I made the logo behind our heads and wrote the slide software design. I also made this post and found quotes under the captions. And I interviewed and did the problem market fit. So the research required for that.
Anela, we threw a lot at you, threw a lot of learning. What stuck with you? What are you really going to take away from this experience?
The teamwork. I really liked how my group made sure that everyone was heard and made sure that everyone was contributing. And if they were confused, we explained better. And we didn't shame anyone. Sorry, construction. We didn't shame anyone for their questions, whether it was stupid or not, or just like clarifying. Yeah.
One last question for you, Anela. What do you do with this? What do you do when Nalukai ends? How do you take these learning lessons, hopefully some more confidence in the power of how awesome you are, and apply them to your summer and to your year?
This has taught me a lot about confidence. Like my whole team is very confident, and it's helped me actually with this presentation right now as I'm speaking. Their support has lifted me up so that I could go on and do this with them. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. And thank you, team. You did a tremendous job. If we could all give some snaps, some rounds of applause. Thank you so much. And now, our last but certainly not least, team LocalEco.
Aloha everyone. I hope you are all having a wonderful day so far. We are LocalEco Hawaii, and our team is composed of Gaia, Nali'i, Natalie, and myself, Landon. So as individuals living in Hawaii, we have always struggled with determining whether or not a product is eco-friendly or not. Oftentimes we find ourselves in a store struggling to interpret the complex information on a simple bottle of sunscreen. And with all of this confusing information, usually it'll end up in us making the wrong environmentally conscious choice. For example, after the oxybenzone and octinazate ban in Hawaii, it is super easy to assume that all sunscreens are now completely environmentally safe. However, this is not the case, as many of these sunscreens still include chemicals like avobenzone and octocrylene that are very harmful for the environment and potentially harmful for you as well. Beyond this, some of these sunscreens come in packaging, some of which are recyclable, some of which aren't. Sometimes even the bottle isn't even recyclable. Not to mention, there is an overwhelming carbon cost associated with shipping the sunscreen to Hawaii. Did you guys also know that only 5% of the total listed equity market has gone green? In addition, 74% of Americans have trouble trying to figure out if a product is actually eco-friendly or not. On top of this, eco-friendly products are on average 75 to 85% more expensive than other unsustainable options. And all these factors combined make it very difficult to obtain eco-friendly products today. Sadly, this horrible image is an example of a long-term effect if we continue to use non-sustainable products. This is because most people do not know that Hawaii actually sends most of its trash out into the world, where it eventually finds its way back to our shores. And for this reason, if we do not reduce our waste and make the switch to eco-friendly products, the effect on our environment will be catastrophic.
As we have personally experienced the painstakingly long and tedious process of searching for eco-friendly products, we've created LocalEco Hawaii, an accessory to your shopping experience. It will have an app and a website that will allow you to find the best eco-friendly products in seconds. The app will open to a sign-in screen so that you will be able to save your preferences, and that will lead to a home screen where you'll be able to see what's trending, and you'll be able to search for the product you want and sort by location to find what's closest to you, by price to see what's most affordable, and by ratings. I'm sure most of us have had the experience of drinking from a paper straw and the paper straw just disintegrating. By sorting with our ratings, we'll be able to ensure that you'll find the highest quality products so that will never happen again. We also have a menu, which is shown on the right, that will show your home page, favorites list, shopping list, blogs and reviews, and reminders. Our favorites list will allow you to compile all your favorite products in one spot, and your shopping list will allow you to plan out what you want to buy. The blogs and reviews will allow you to share your experiences with everyone, as well as read the ratings and reviews from our other users. Here's an example of a listed product. It will have the name of the product as well as the store it's from and the location of the store. It will also showcase the pricing, the rating, and the customer reviews. There will also be a section where you'll be able to learn more about how it's eco-friendly. Products like this will be compiled from across the islands, and we will vet them to ensure that they are all eco-friendly. We will have badges like these to showcase how eco-friendly the product is. This example shows that it's zero waste certified. We will have two pricing tiers, a free and a premium version, and the premium version will cost $5 a month. Both versions will allow users to search for eco-friendly products, sort by location, price, and ratings, post and read reviews, and add things to their favorites list. The standard version will allow for one shopping list, and the premium version will have unlimited shopping lists and scheduled shopping lists. The premium version will also have reminders, advanced filterings, and no ads. There will also be additional discounts based on how eco-friendly the product is. The greater the eco-friendliness, the greater the discount.
Our main audiences are local businesses and customers within the Big Island and the island of Oahu. These two islands are our homes, and we first want to make an impact in our communities before expanding our reach to neighbor islands. To reach our audience, Instagram has been our main source of advertisement. We have been posting information about our minimum viable product, which is a website, as well as information about eco-friendly products and the environment. If you click the link in our bio, it will take you to our website. On our website, we share details about us as individuals and as a whole, our values, and a little about our app and website vision. We also highly encourage people to sign up to get updates on our launch for our website and app. When you get to this page, you'll insert your name and email, and then this page will pop up to ensure that we got your response.
There are a number of companies on the market that aim to make it easier to find and buy sustainable products. Of these, many are focused on specific areas such as refillable items and outdoor goods. We are one of only a handful of companies that focus on selling Hawaii-made products. And in terms of affordability and user-friendliness, we come out on top. As we continue to grow, we will be developing partnerships with local businesses to increase the awareness of our brand. We also hope to build a website and an app and hire a software engineer and a chief sustainability officer to make our user experience come to life. And lastly, we hope to expand our reach to the rest of the state. Our team is made up of Natalie, Landon, Nali'i, and myself. We have experience in community volunteering as well as environmental research, and we hope that our business can make a difference in our community. As we continue to grow, we would love it if you could visit our website and sign up for our product to indicate your interest in our site. Additionally, please share about us with your friends and local businesses. Thank you.
Fantastic job, team. Thank you so much. Just a great presentation and a wonderful product. Gaia, starting with you, if you could each talk about your roles on the team and what you did on the team.
Yeah, so just like everyone before us, we did fill a lot of different roles based on what we were interested in. And we just wanted to get a really good, well-rounded experience of fulfilling a lot of different roles. I focused a lot on the competitive landscape and researching other companies and their features. I also helped a little bit in developing the website and working on our social media, especially Instagram.
Landon.
Yeah, I also helped a lot with the website, and I helped a lot with our social media Instagram account. I'd say my main job was probably working on like the slides and the presentation and the pitch.
The aesthetic, the slides were fantastic. You did a great job with the pitch. Nali'i.
So I started off working on the website, and I started off on Wix, and I finished it, but then we couldn't get a domain name because it was under my email, so our domain wasn't easy to find. So we had to move it all to Google Sites, and that's where we all worked together on it as a team. I also focused on our social media aspect, posting like interactive games to see how much our users know about the environment and plastic waste. And yeah, and I helped on the pitch deck too.
Natalie, how about you?
Yeah, so just like all of them, we worked together on the site and on the presentation. I also programmed the sign-up page so that it would be able to tell us who clicked on it and when. And I also worked on the promotional video, designing the app, and designing our logo.
Thank you. This question goes to any of you. What about this experience has been unique, and what will you take from it?
I think something unique about this experience was getting to work as a team, because my teammates were all super great, and also getting to do things that I wouldn't normally push myself to do. Like, for example, having the code calls. Like, normally I wouldn't do that, but this pushed me to experience that and like get used to talking with people on the phone and hearing about their experiences.
When we first came into the team, we all got into the room and like nobody wanted to talk. So Nathan, our team leader, had to like push us to talk. And I think at the end of our experience, we all became a leader in our own way.
Gaia, how about for you?
Yeah, the team experience and just working with everyone has been just really fun, and discovering each of our like unique skills and bringing those together. I think, yeah, we just grew so much as a team. And I also really like the customer validation that we did, and learning about like the analysis once we set up our Instagram page and our website. That was some of the most interesting parts of the process.
Gaia, for you, what are you most proud of contributing to this team?
I think initially my idea was a little bit different. Like, we each had our own problems that we sort of came up with. And mine was about plastic recycling. And although we didn't end up going with that exact problem, I think the way that we were able to like bridge all of our different problems together to come up with something that we were all passionate about is something that we can be really proud of.
I think you absolutely can. Kate states, great presentation, exclamation point. I'm going to your site now. I could see using your product every time I shop. And I'm going to throw it to Alan Murabayashi live again, not just because I think he has the greatest mic in the history of podcasting.
Well, thank you very much, Aaron. One of the huge challenges with doing customer research or surveys is that people often tell you what you want to hear, or they tell you how they would behave in an ideal world. I think you've clearly done good customer research showing the need for the product, but I wonder about customer behavior. So the implied workflow that I got from the presentation is that somebody wants to find eco spoons, they research it on their app, they find where the store is, and they go to the store and buy it. I think people go to the store that they usually go to, like Times or Safeway, then look on the shelf and say, I wonder if this is eco. So determining whether consumer behavior is accurate might change what your MVP is, because all of a sudden the main feature of your app might be, I have to take a picture of this product and my app has to identify whether it's eco or not, rather than a text-based search of someone at home and seeing if there's products in my neighborhood to go purchase. Have you thought about that consumer flow and consumer behavior at all?
Yeah, there's one main feature that we thought of to sort of address that issue. So we wanted to create a system with a barcode where they could scan their usual item with their phone, and then our app could find alternates to the product that they like usually buy. So that might help with that issue.
Thank you. Thanks for the question and thanks for the response. We have a question coming in from Stephanie. Are you focused on eco products made in Hawaii, sold in Hawaii, or both?
We're mainly, oh wait, here, you can go.
We try and have local businesses and their products on our website, but we also have products from out of Hawaii state.
Thank you. Nali'i, how did you pick up the phone? How did you engage with people? I know this was super hard for so many of you. What got you to do it? And how powerful was the information that you got back?
So first I had to research like who to call, and most of them didn't pick up, but on the rare occasion that somebody did pick up, I was like super prepared because I wrote down my script, and certain people couldn't answer the exact questions, so I had to alter my questions to fit what they do specifically. And I think it was great to hear what they thought, and they gave us some ideas on what to do and what they think could be good on our app.
Landon, how do you take this experience and use it to kind of thrive in the next endeavors in your life?
I think it's all about just going out and doing it and just having confidence to just believe in yourself and just go out there and kill it.
And Gaia, for you, again, we had these great kind of evening presenters. Was there something that resonated the most? Was there one that kind of got you thinking in ways that you hadn't thought before?
Yeah, I think Miss Melly James, her talk was especially like interesting for me. In part of it, she talked about how hard she had to work to find a mentor for her business. And it was someone with a really, really high profile. And she talked about like how she prepared that perfect pitch to them when they had those free 30 minutes, and then tried to like pursue them after that. And she just showed me like how dedicated you have to be to get what you want and just like hustle. I think that was really inspirational to hear from her and then sort of think about how I can apply that to my own life.
A wonderful response. Natalie, what are you most proud of personally in this experience?
Personally, I'm most proud of being able to step out of my comfort zone and just being able to try like things I wouldn't usually do. And I'm proud that we got to work together as a team and come up with what we have today.
I am extremely proud of your group. I'm extremely proud of all of the brave high school Nalukai founders that dove in, if you will, into this experience and did an incredible job in our 6th annual presentation showcase of learning. Can we give a huge round of applause to all 6 teams: ʻIke Island, Kukui Kūpaʻa, Braini, Clean Honua, HaloWare, and LocalEco. Thank you so much for doing an incredible job. I was moved multiple times throughout these presentations, and I saw the potential and capacity of youth and the power of them getting their ideas and creativity out into the world. This is now a completely open Q&A for all Nalukai founders. I encourage everyone to throw their questions into the chat. And I want David Clark, an excellent facilitator, to co-MC this period with me for the next couple of minutes before we close out. David, why don't you start with the first maybe reflection and question for our founders?
Thanks, Aaron, and thanks for so ably and entertainingly moderating this. It's always it's amazing to watch you interact with everyone, and at the same time hold back the tears that I can see that well up when you start hearing really inspiring stories. It's why we do what we do. And I feel the same way, and I'm really grateful for you and your input to everybody's experience. I also want to thank everybody for being on the call on this Zoom today. Our founders, alumni, I'm noticing alumni sending in questions. We have a network of now just about 160 alumni who have gone through Nalukai over the years. And it's very gratifying to see you come back and want to support the students who this year's founders. So thank you for that. Founders, my question to you, and feel free, whoever wants to come off mic and answer this. What do you think is most valuable about doing this particular activity? We could talk generally about camp and your overall experience, but I'm interested right now in what do you think is the most valuable thing that comes out of doing this presentation day?
Definitely learning how to like think about questions and like the answers to the questions on the spot, because you're not given like time to think. You kind of just have to go and answer.
And how does that relate to your overall Nalukai experience, or anything you maybe learned from any of our speakers or presenters or guests?
Like as I mentioned earlier, that figure it out mindset, kind of like a lot of the entrepreneurs have that in common.
Well said, Rumen. Thank you. Some snaps for Rumen, please. Thank you. Who's next?
Additionally, I think just having this entire day is an amazing way to have like just one way to pinpoint the accumulation of all of our hard work through these past 2 weeks, because I feel like for even personally, a lot of projects will kind of just peter out at the end and it doesn't feel like it really came to any sort of conclusion. And this day is just an amazing way to like have it live streamed, have people actually interact with us and ask their own questions and show their opinions on what we've created.
Thank you, Cami. Great answer. Who else?
I think that through this experience, we've got to see what it's like more in like a professional world, where you're with people who like share the same goal as you, and having to put something together without the convenience of time has really helped us to be more elite and more punctual with what we're doing and how we spend our time. So that was one thing I learned.
Thank you, Caleb. Let's take one more. What's the value of this experience?
I think that just today, it was just such a bigger step, at least for me, because presenting in front of teachers or strangers or your friends is one thing, but when I presented this topic, which is a big thing for my family, in front of my family, it just adds a whole nother fear. But now that I went through it, it's like it was just the big step I took to get me to keep on taking all the shorter steps to get to the end goal. And that I took the big step and I did it and I feel better now.
Congratulations, Joanna.
You're amazing. Amazing. We have a question coming in. Sorry, Mr. David Clark, Dr. Clark. I'm just going to call you 7 things. We have a question coming in from Carolyn Landry. Did this experience influence your thoughts and plans for your educational journey going forward? That's a great question.
Is that this experience, or is that the overall Nalukai experience? Is there any way to get, well, maybe answer it either way. If this experience, if the pitch did, or if the overall Nalukai influences that. Overall Nalukai. Thank you, Caroline.
I think from all the speakers, they said that at one point in their life, they didn't know where they were going. So I think I took away that it's okay if you don't know where you're going. You don't have to have your whole life planned out. You can just figure it out along the way.
Great. Thank you.
I'd like to answer this one, if I could. So, I mean, here in front of me, I have my laptop and I have my notebook. And if Mr. Shorn walked into my house and told me to give up one of them, I would hand him my laptop without the doubt, because I believe this notebook is actually priceless with all the lessons that I've learned in it, with all the with all the things that I've written and all the feedback that I've been able to gain, I feel like this thing can carry me to like 1,000 laptops. I can employ an entire company with laptops. I feel that although I'm grateful for all the tools that I have, I feel that this has influenced my educational journey in a way that will be like infinitely grateful for, because in the future, I can realize that although resources are one thing, that the learning and the experiences are exponentially more important. So a big mahalo to Nalukai for that, and a big mahalo to all my fellow founders as well as team leaders. Thank you.
Thank you, Evan, and way to make all the facilitators just and as well as the people who help fund Nalukai just completely well up. Thank you. That's exactly what our biggest aims are, actually. So thank you for that, and thank you to the alumni who are typing in ditto about how you feel about the content that you had exposure to. Thank you very much.
Yeah, what David said, so I don't have to talk as I cry. We have a question coming in from Stephanie. Are there things from this experience that you wish were happening in your schools? If so, what? What would you want your teachers to know about this experience?
It's okay, I'll answer this question. I think that the way that we set ground rules for our program in the beginning, and we addressed how we would like to be treated and how we want to hold each other up to different standards of how we want to treat others, is something that we should imply in all of our classrooms. I think it's a way to really get closer to one another, and I think it'll help with respect in general.
Thank you, Amanda. Anyone else want to take a crack at that question?
I don't mean to be like the devil's advocate or anything, but I do think that there is a lack of motivation in today's like student body. That's what I find, because I know, like, working with the kids here, everyone completely understood what a great opportunity this was. Everyone was so respectful, so appreciative. Just ultimately, like, those were the people that you definitely like want to work with in a team. But we see in our school systems these days just unmotivated kids who have been through so much and have dealt with so much that sometimes school just isn't necessarily what they need to get that sort of education and basic like understanding of the world. And I find that even Nalukai itself, I wouldn't even compare it to high school for me personally, because there's no grades here. There's no pressure like, oh my God, you're all preparing just for like college and whatnot. There's no sort of, I mean, there's this cumulative kind of like assignment that we have, but there's no ultimate like expectation that like, oh, we're all gonna have to get A's to be successful, that kind of a thing. There's no, yeah, I don't know how else to put it, but school wasn't like that for me personally, at least, you know?
Thank you, Liv. Very well stated. Thank you. One more person comment on that question before we move on.
I think the way we have so many guest speakers and people from like diverse backgrounds come to speak with us is also just really different from school. A lot of times, like during the school day, it's just like classes, but we don't get a lot of exposure to like people in industry, like outside the school setting. And I think the guest speakers just add so much to the Nalukai experience. And that's like been some of my favorite parts.
Thank you. We have so many questions around the culture that was created here. And so I'm going to ask two questions because there's like 6 of them that have come at me. The first is going to be to Mara Pavic, who has played an incredible role at Nalukai at really facilitating that culture, both around diversity, equity, and inclusion, and social and emotional learning. Mara, how did you utilize the pre-work, and how did you watch these youth form teams and live what we taught them?
Thank you. First of all, wonderful job to all of you and congratulations. And I believe in adolescence. I know what the research shows us about this particular phase of development and the possibility of creativity and innovation. And all the while yearning for connection. And so as we looked at the framework, it was all about how can we set them up to access those key points of this phase of development. And so honestly, just like the research is there. We know this is best practice. We know that humans want to connect and they want to shine. And unfortunately, there's other barriers. I think Liv said it very politely. What I was hearing and I've experienced in schools is sometimes that competition, those external expectations can distract us from what we know kind of helps to be successful. And so we were strategized as a team of how can we set that from the start and how can we name that the whole person is welcomed into this space, that each aspect of your social identity, your passions, your interests, your skill base are welcomed and we want them all here. And then also that sometimes our differences make it difficult. However, if we can communicate effectively, we can work past some of those differences and see them more as opportunities to strengthen a team. And so again, using all of those kind of pieces to develop the framework with the hope that y'all would hear it and get it. And the true result that is like awesome is that somehow along the way it clicked, and to see you all really taking that to heart and seeing some of the benefits has been a true pleasure and honor. So thank you.
So founders, how did you take this? How did you intone all of these lessons, these skills, these social skills, these emotional skills? And how did they help you as you grappled in teams? As you maybe had to focus on an idea that didn't come from you, or you had to work with the team in the heat of all of this. How did these skill sets kind of not only form our culture, but help you?
I think my team and I, like, every single, like, they all brought skills to the team, and I think that the diversity of our skill sets really helped us to develop our product and to push, you know, like, even though we might have different backgrounds, we're united in that we're solving this single problem, and our diversity and skill sets really helped to, you know, accentuate like the effects that we would have and like how well we can solve our problem.
Thank you, Levi. Anyone else want to take a stab at that question? How did you see the diversity, equity, inclusion, social, emotional learning, some of the things we did at the beginning of camp around team building? How did that end up showing up in your overall experience in Nalukai?
I think it showed up a lot, not just within groups, but I think one thing that sums it up a lot was every morning when we were put into breakout rooms and asked to discuss things and previous guest speakers, it really showed that in Nalukai there was no judgment and people were really willing to be open with each other. And that was something I really appreciated because it allowed so many innovative and creative ideas to just flow. And it's somewhere like it's a space that I've never really, you know, been in before, where you can build on each other's ideas without fear of being shut down, without fear of something going wrong, no expectations, no grades. And we're all just building on this one collective goal of getting as much as we could out of this experience. And it reminds me of when Levi, you know, stepped out of his way to help out our group from a totally different group when he's got all this work going on. And that's just one example. And everyone's been doing this, but it just shows that we're all here to support each other. And when we don't let anything else hold us back, we can really come up with some incredible things. And that's one skill that I hope to, you know, hold on to from this. And I hope that all of us hold on to it, because it's something that, you know, you can't find in many other areas.
Thank you, Dante. So I've got another question that I'd like you all to think about. We have, it's a really big part of our purpose, of our mission. to be grounded in the place where we all are, this place that's really special, that is Hawaii. And this year, probably more than any other year, we addressed that overtly through a number of very intentional decisions. It's always been a part of who we are, but I would say this year especially. Are there elements of Hawaiian culture that you have taken as either inspiration or taken on as kuleana that you'd be willing to share with the community that's with us today?
With all, all of the things we're learning with Auntie Pomai, and every morning having, new people come in, even though I knew Kumukalua, having new people come in and telling us stories. And I said, I knew them, but telling new stories and just building on everything we learned in a way to help us connect, at least to my aina, because all the people here talked about, Waimea or Kauai High. I saw the same mountains that they were talking about. I saw the same oceans they were talking about. And then I had the ipu that Anake Pomai gave us that held, not only the dirt or the plant or the seeds, it held, right now it's holding, like the ipu that holds the stars, it's holding our stars, it's holding us, it's holding our stories, and every single story we've made, every single little quote, every single little funny joke, every single serious moment, every time we cried as a group, it held all of it. It's all held there in that ipu, and I think that's one thing I'm going to take with me as, after this Nalukai experience, other than, the business. I'm going to see that ipu and remember every single little story, every little part, every little star, everything.
Thank you, Joanna. Beautifully expressed. Who else would speak on that question around how important the cultural aspect of this is to Nalukai and what you might take with you?
I sort of already answered it when I was asked questions, but I really, really, really liked the teamwork and how, while we were learning, as we were learning, the Hawaiian values just added on to what we were supposed to do. And it really helped us guide and flow. So I really like the structure of Nalukai's schedule and how even the guest speakers and Auntie Pomai, how everything just came together and helped us build onto our business MVPs.
Thank you, Nella. One more?
I'd like to share, adding on to Joanna's point of the ipu. Those ipu were probably all planted in the same area, and then they were shipped to us. And I feel like this symbolizes us as Nalukai founders, because we all grew so much here at Nalukai, and now we're gonna go off on our own entrepreneurial ventures and journeys, but we're all rooted in this program, and we all can come back and connect through this program, even through our alumni association. So I think that's really powerful, and that Hawaii is extremely connected and rooted.
Thank you, Tate.
That was beautiful, Tate. I want to throw it to Austin Stewart, our director of curriculum, for the next question.
Hey, founders. First of all, amazingly proud of the work that you demonstrated and presented to the world today. I just wanted to ask you, because one of the things that I work on is whether or not the young people who grow up here see entrepreneurship as an avenue in life which is open to them. Did anyone in this program have a change of mind about whether or not starting their own venture, using that as a way to build a meaningful life for themselves, is something that opened up for you as a result of the program?
Yes, and more. But I used to always be like, oh, I want to have like a successful business, but then the thought of how to do it is like, oh my gosh, it's not worth all that pain and all that figuring out what to do just for that. But being at Nalukai has helped me to realize that it is hard. That's not a doubt, but there are steps you can take and ways to go about it where you can push through and use that difficulty to give yourself a successful future. And now I've been thinking about more of how it can benefit the community and stuff. That's something I wasn't really considering before, and how to incorporate the problems we see around us into a solution that might benefit to more people. So yes, to answer your question.
Love that answer, Caleb. Thank you. Anyone else want to share something?
Yeah, especially with the head, heart, and purpose activity that we did, like, you know, people always tell you, oh yeah, just follow your passions, just, you know, do what your heart wants. But then you're like, okay, but how do I do that? How do I make it like sustainable to like follow my passions and like still pay my bills and have a roof over my head? So this program made me realize that, like what Caleb said before, you can like kind of integrate your passions in a way that it can help the community and like be sustainable and like, you know, make a business out of it and actually like, you know, like not like have crazy debt or something. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Vermin. Is there anyone else?
I just wanted to add that like creating a business wasn't something that I thought about before. Actually, it wasn't something that I thought of as a potential future for myself. And I guess it's because I always thought of it as something like too big for me to aim for. But this program has made me realize that you can really start small and you can start right where you're at. And that's just eye-opening for me.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Amanda. I appreciate that comment a lot. Back to Mr. Clark.
So one of the things, we brought in some amazing speakers this year to, in addition to the facilitation team that was coming in from Australia and from Kansas City, Minnesota, and Ojai, California, in addition to Oahu and the Big Island. We also had some speakers who were real standouts in whatever field they were in within entrepreneurship. So having Ishan Wong here, who started Terraformation with a goal of planting 1 trillion trees to solve our current environmental crisis, former chief engineer at Facebook and at CEO of Reddit. Melly James, co-founder of Mana Up, Goruz Lucina from Soul Pancake, Jonathan Kim. You know, the different people that we had to speak with you all was inspiring. I found the evening where we also got to speak to someone who probably wouldn't consider herself and her husband to be quote unquote entrepreneurs in the traditional sense. But it's essential for me that we look at people who are doing community endeavors that have a lot of the same skill set in terms of being able to galvanize a community around an issue, around a problem, around an opportunity to raise resources to do so. And in this case, to do so directly connected to the place that we are so fortunate to live in. And that is obviously Pomai Bertelman and Chad Paishan, who spent so much time with us, not just that evening, but Pomai, I wanted to see if you could actually close out our official simulcast, our showcase, our whole ʻIke, with either any questions or to the founders, or any closing thoughts, because you have added an immense amount to this cohort, to this community, to Hawaii, through your voyaging, through your deep perpetuation of culture in so many ways. And I'm grateful for your participation. So grateful. Anything you would like to add or ask?
I think for right now, I think all of the asking has been done. Again, the Hamana, the Opiono, that well, I think what I want you to know from me is that you've elevated me in the way that I perceive and have seen the world, and in what I know as an educator that Hamana have the ability to do. And so first and foremost, thank you folks for enabling me to be a part of, and for inspiring me to come back every day. I echo the same sentiment as Evan. And this isn't going anywhere. This stays with me, and wherever it is that I go, this puke vai vai will always travel with me, because of what I've been able to learn and grow, and how I've been able to grow because of you. So inspired. I'm gonna turn it back to the ipu, ka ipu ka Honua, the ipu that has been part of the world space that we've been creating for ourselves in the last 2 weeks. And so I want to offer you a mana'o, and it'll be very short. But the mana'o that I want to offer to you today is this. When we looked at the term Honua, we all know that it said earth. We all know that it said substrate. We all know that it said, the world in itself. But I also want to offer to you the term at the foundation. And then I want to change the word foundation to core. So at the very core of the last 2 weeks, each and every one of you were collectively able to create a genealogy. You're able to create a legacy of story through the platform of entrepreneurship. And that genealogy and that legacy, irregardless of where and what direction each individual one of you go, will continue to live, and will continue, like our families, to exponentially grow. Exponentially. And all of that will enable Hawaii to be a better place. And so that is what I want to say to all of you. The voyage is not only taking place on the ocean, it is taking place here in this platform and in this space for the last 2 weeks. And then the 4 months and the 6 months before that, and the 12 months before that, because you are here because of the legacy of those who were here prior. And so I leave that message with you folks. Mahalo nui for enriching our lives. And thank you all so much for being so open and so amazing. Mahalo, mahalo, mahalo.
Thank you, Pomai. All right, everybody. I want to celebrate you. I want to clap for you. I want to say, nice job. You brought it big today. Congratulations. This was huge. To our community that came in and joined us today, whether you're parents, community members, educators, entrepreneurs in your own light, I want to thank you for joining, for listening, for supporting, for your questions that will help refine. We will take these questions and also continue to explore them. I saw your question, Alan, about any input that you got from this session today and how it might inform the next iteration of a project. We will absolutely be asking that. Our next 2 days at Nalukai are going to be focused on now what are we going to do with this experience, and how are we going to share it with others? My invitation to the community: we teach the founders that it's important in doing a pitch to ask. It's always uncomfortable for me because I love so much doing what I do with young people. But I want to ask the community to please support our work. It enables us to have a greater reach. It enables us to reach more people. It enables us to continue working with the founders that we have in a formal way. The problems that they identified in their application, they came, the 24 here, each articulated a problem they saw for Hawaii, and some of them came here and they posed them, and then they rallied other people around them and they came up with solutions to them after they had a greater understanding by reaching out to the community to see the nuances of those problems. We had an additional group of students who didn't get the chance to do Nalukai this year, because we basically do one, or if we're lucky, two, with the help of Kamehameha schools. We get to do two in some years. But that's not nearly enough for what we want to do. We want this experience for more people. So I'm appealing to the community to please go onto our website, nalukai.org, make a donation. It really helps us out. It enables us to give each of our founders a computer, certainly, a laptop, but also the notebook. And Evan, you've given me a new anecdote to refer to now when I talk about Nalukai, so thank you. It enables us to send the message to our young people that we want to invest in them and we believe in them. That's why we run this program for free. That's why Kamehameha has helped us to do formally alumni reach out efforts this year. We want to continue to offer mentorship to young people because they need it, especially now. So that's my appeal. And thank you for joining us today. Founders, we're going to see you back here at about 4 o'clock. Take a little break. We're going to finish up the planting of our ipu, symbolically putting seeds inside today, the planter that you have made. Everybody else, thank you for joining us. Aloha. Ahui ho.
Thank you everyone through Eventbrite and through the